We are just learning 7 bodies were found in Guinea. This according to the Prime Minister, who says health workers were attacked. That crowd moved from Times Square. Now we're around 47th and 6th Avenue here in Midtown Manhattan. You can see behind me people walking. The crowd is dispersing here because police have set up barricades. The search is intense and dire for those family members waiting to hear anything at all. And the first bodies of the 162 people on board are being brought to land. From the Midwest to the Deep South and right here in New York City, no one is spared from the extremely cold weather. Think about it. What about those Snickers bars? Or for the love of all things chocolate, what about Godiva? It's a busy Thursday in Sierra Leone.
I've come to buy medication, food stuff, and all necessary things, even water at home.
Residents are getting last-minute essentials because starting Friday, the government is mandating a 3-day nationwide shutdown.
They'll be going from house to house, basically, to be able to provide very clear message about Ebola and to be able to tell people what they should do within their family circles if they find that a particular member within the family is suffering from Ebola.
The lockdown is aimed at helping workers fight the outbreak of Ebola. The disease has already killed more than 2,000 people in the region. Meantime, vendors there have some worry over the loss of income with the shutdown.
So we're very concerned first and foremost with the response. But we did take a step back and ask the question, what's going on in terms of the overall economic impact?
The World Bank projects Ebola could drain billions of dollars from the economy. Inflation and food prices are already rising due to panic buying. Still, money loss is taking a back seat to the many lives lost. Already, an experimental vaccine has been given to 10 Americans and 1 man in the UK. Meantime, the world anxiously waits for a solution to the crisis, perhaps a cure. Fighting the disease has become a global effort. UN Secretary Ban Ki-moon saying the number of cases is doubling every 3 weeks and is calling for a $1 billion increase over the next 6 months to tackle the crisis. And of course, Wendy, we know that President Obama is sending about 3,000 U.S. troops into that region to help. From the air, you can see the damage left behind from killer tornadoes in southeast Mississippi. 4 people are dead because of the twister and more than 50 others injured. The rain still falling in that area, the damage widespread. Down trees, blown off roofs, families left without working power or homes. The weather event forcing many to leave. Lines of cars moving at a snail's pace, hoping to get out. The storm moving in as holiday travel kicks into high gear. Millions of holiday travelers wrestled with flight cancellations and delays. Already today, more than 200 flights were delayed and another 600 canceled. But for those who managed to make it, brave the crowds.
It might be because the economy is getting a little bit better and also because the airlines provide a lot of good deals and people are taking advantage of them, I think.
And for those people not in the sky, AAA reports 50% more will holiday travel by car. That number is up from last year, and economists believe the change is due to decreasing gas prices. Across the nation, prices at the pump look something like this. In Westminster, Colorado, prices are sitting below $2 a gallon. Meantime, the messy weather across the nation is slowing down holiday travel. Like in this preview from early December, a snowstorm is brewing in the Midwest and moving east. The goal for many is just to make it to grandma's house before the big impact. And major airport hubs like Atlanta in the south, Chicago in the Midwest, as well as Portland and Seattle on the west are dealing with heavy rain. That rain more than likely will turn into ice, and that's when you run into problems with delays and, of course, slick roads, Frank. One thing that is very common in all of our lives today is the smartphone. This researcher says a smartphone, an application program he has developed called X-Rapid, will not only detect malaria at rapid speed, but will also cut down on the lives lost. In this Niger hospital, mothers are staying close to their crying babies. The babies are sick, stricken with the deadly mosquito-borne illness, malaria. West African countries in particular remain fragile because of the Ebola epidemic. The United Nations Health Agency is worried of a resurgence of malaria, even though progress against the infection has been made. A London-based researcher says he's come up with a way to diagnose malaria quickly and with the help of a smartphone.
This is a mobile microscope, 200-time microscope with a constant source of light attached to an iPhone or an Android device, any of them. And we use the combined power of the smartphone's camera and the smartphone processing power to read a malaria slide like a microbiologist, a biologist would do, just faster and more efficiently.
The process is simple, according to Jean-Very Babel. He explains how it works.
So what we do is we take a drop of blood, we put it on a slate, we drop a bit of blue dye on it, let it dry, put it on a white surface, put X-rapid. So here is the red blood cells and 2 white blood cells in the middle there. We have the X-rapid have told me that malaria has been detected.
In recent numbers, the World Health Organization says around 20% of malaria cases go undiagnosed. 5,000 people die every day from the illness, and researchers say this technology can likely catch malaria before it takes control of the body. Now, as soon as the data is detected, it is sent to the relevant government's malaria unit where outbreaks can be monitored as they occur. The app is showing such great promise that this team of researchers have already begun looking into TB and Lyme disease, Actor. The wind so strong, the clouds, this smoky dark color, sure signs a storm was hovering over the corridor.
It was awesome. As a storm, it was awesome.
Lisa Ponick captured it on her cell phone as it moved over her house on the northwest side of Cedar Rapids.
The sirens had went off, and so then we backed up to the kitchen, and about that time, boom.
At the Ponick home, a tree broke this window, and the damage widespread across the city of Cedar Rapids. This tree next to a power supply box covered with flames near a home on Jacqueline Drive Northwest. It was met with downed power lines. On Elder Lane, this tree toppled over onto a house. The streetlight near Casey's across the street from Coe College on First Avenue knocked out by the force of the storm.
Then the power went out, so we of course had to close down.
Downtown wasn't spared from the storm either. The clouds seen here moved over the area, dropping rain and carrying strong winds. That's an illustration of how hard the wind was blowing out here. It got so bad that it forced people to park in this rest area and wait it out.
It got very black and very windy, and my vehicle was rocking.
The sound of the siren as the downpour continued here at Broadcast Park. One final stop before the rain moves out and on to the next area. And you're looking live now at that tree covering that car now, and I've been checking Twitter. Some of my followers, a follower of mine on the southwest side of town is also reporting that her car was also damaged by a downed tree. As for the power, we've told at one time at least 20,000 customers were without power here in the area, and right now we're told that the energy company is working to get power restored. We don't, however, have a full time frame as to when everyone's power will be back up and running again. But we'll stick with it, and as soon as we know, we'll get it to you. For now, covering the corridor tonight in Cedar Rapids, Kelsey Minor, Fox 28 News at 9.